Not feeling enough warm or cool air in all the rooms in your home? Before you consider replacing your heating and air conditioning unit, call AeroSeal. 3 out of 4 homes we visit leak 15 to 40% of their air through faulty seams or holes in their air duct system, wasting dollars and energy. AeroSeal certified technicians test your ductwork and use technology endorsed by the Environmental Protection Agency to put your air and your cash back where it belongs. Call AeroSeal. Airtight savings, airtight comfort.
Today we're talking about big transitions and big decisions. My friend Mary just got her hair done. I can't wait to come back and see how much energy she got from her great transformation. We're back, and as you can see, Mary has a completely different vibe. She is transformed. Not that you weren't gorgeous before, but this is fun, isn't it?
It was a blast.
And you're feeling different energy, right?
I feel like a new woman.
You said that you were going to go home and your husband was going to have what?
A new woman.
So talk about that, just that feeling for the day.
Well, it'll be a new look and just a new feel when I get home, and it kind of energized me very much, and I'm just enjoying it.
And if you have something going on like that, a big transition or a big decision to make, change it up, right?
Absolutely. Cut and color can make a world of difference in your attitude and your look.
So just change something physical, something small, seemingly inconsequential, change around your room, change up your routine, and you'll feel like you're more confident and ready for the big transition that you have in front of you. Now, coming up next, we are going to talk to Tim Pratt. He's a certified financial planner, and it'll get a little more serious because I believe when you have transitions and decisions in your future, you need to prepare for them so that it can make it easier for you to handle them. We'll do that when we come back. Up next, you are going to enjoy a little bit of encouragement from New Heights Counseling. We'll be back right after this.
We were just talking about making big decisions, such as a major purchase or even a major life change. And Jessie was talking about her experience with this.
One of the biggest decisions I ever made was letting go of my salary position for taking on my own business, and it was intense at first.
So how did you go about making that change?
You know, I had to listen to my internal cues. I was questioning if I could afford this. My anxiety was high, and so I wasn't sleeping at night sometimes. I even got hives. I knew if I was really ready, I wouldn't have all these negative feelings, but I wanted this, had to do something.
So how did you go about turning those negative feelings into some kind of action?
I turned talking to someone neutral first, and then that clarified my wants, and it helped me talk to the people involved. Once the pressure was gone, I realized there was no magic time, and it turned into a planned leap of faith.
So once you were able to give a voice to those internal feelings, you could talk to other people and make some peace with your decision.
Exactly, and it's been a great journey so far.
Thank you, Jessie. This has been New Heights Counseling, a place to grow, to heal, and to reach new heights.
Now we just finished doing what I think is the more fun and easy way to jumpstart when you're in a big decision, big transition time of your life. Mary got a haircut. You can change it up physically and it gives you some more energy. But there's another more solid way to make sure that you can handle those decisions and transitions, which is really through preparation and planning. I'm a big fan of that. I have Tim Pratt here. He's a certified financial planner with HJN Advisors. And he's here to talk about the stuff that we don't like to talk about, really, which is financial stuff, death, what if you lose your job, what if your child is sick. I mean, those are the things, and those are huge decision times. So talk about, of course, you're a certified financial planner, so you love the planning process. Can you just talk a little bit about why that's so important?
Well, everything, I think, ultimately works better when someone has planned, and people do that every day in the course of their business lives and sometimes their personal lives, but I find oftentimes people don't take the time to do that relative to their finances, and they really probably should. The guest that we had on today had, in the span of 6 months, she lost her job and her father. Now, her father was in a long-term situation, so she knew that that was going to happen. And so, I said, well, how devastating was it? And she said, well, it was tough, but planning she was part of every decision while he was sick.
So it made it really easy. So talk about that, about why it's so important to plan ahead of time so when those things happen. What are the things that you need to talk about so when a sickness or a death happens, you don't have to deal with those issues? What are the key issues?
Well, when it comes to death, and it sounds as if your guest at least had some time to prepare for that, but there are some things that everybody should do in advance of that, because as we all know, people are going to pass away. That's just the nature of
Absolutely.
life. One of the first things that people should do is be aware of the legal documents that people have, and make sure that ownerships and beneficiary designations are in alignment with legal documents. A lot of people aren't aware that how you own an asset or who the beneficiary is precedes your wishes expressed in a will.
So your big thing is make sure that you're aware of what's going on.
No
Don't wait
question.
until you're in the middle of it to find out where the discrepancies are, and that's great advice.
And I would say not just the ownerships and beneficiary designations and where assets are held, but things like durable powers of attorney and medical directives and living wills and things.
You're making my head spin, which is why you handle those things instead of.
Right.
And you know, a colleague of yours said the financial planner is kind of the quarterback of the situation. So you're the core of, you know, I mean, whatever is the wishes are in the financial paperwork, and the lawyers and the other parties involved are kind of hinging on that.
We work very, very closely with attorneys and accountants. One of the I think calling cards of the financial advisor is to be sort of an expert generalist, if you will. There are people that know a lot more about taxes than I do, although I know a lot. There are people that know about the law than I do.
But you know just enough to hinge it all together.
Well, and that's the nature of the beast. That is why the profession of financial planning even exists.
Right.
Is to coordinate all of that and look at all of those different components, and it's extremely helpful when some of that preparation has been done in advance, just as it's distressful when it hasn't.
Right. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was the whole transition thing, because there are so many things that can happen unexpectedly. Now we know that eventually we'll all die, so you can plan for those things. But there are other things that we don't like to plan for, which are happening in this economy quite a bit. Job loss, you know, somebody getting sick. I think that I'm a healthy person. Overnight, my life could change. So what are some things that people need to think about?
Everyone should build a cash reserve. Financial planners and the Financial Planning Association would tell people 3 to 6 months worth of fixed expenses to make
I'm
sure that
looking
you
at
have.
you right now, and you know what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, you should.
You should.
Yeah.
And we understand that it's sometimes difficult, but think about that. If I lose my job or if I get sick,
Right.
I've got a cash reserve that gets me through at least some period of time.
Try to do that.
While I am working and have a job, something that few people do until they have to is get a line of credit. Now, my wife and I had built up a significant amount of equity in our home. Cash flow was good, everything is going well, but I went out and got a line of credit, not because I needed it at that point in time, but in the event that I did need it. Now, of course, the potential problem there is abuse of that.
Right.
I've got access to cash, I go out and buy things I don't need or want. And
But this is part of a plan so that
Absolutely.
you don't feel so pressured when the unthinkable happens.
And I can tell you, it's come in very handy through 2 college educations and law school and
Right.
trips and houses and temporary loss of employment,
Right.
that sort of stuff. Very, very helpful so that you don't have to tap those funds that you really don't want
Right.
to. Qualified plans, 401ks, you know, that's the last place you want to go.
Right.
Because it's fully taxable, it's
Sure.
subject to IRS penalty. However, if people understand that you can and know how to, maybe people don't even realize, do you know that when you separate service and you roll money to an IRA that you have 60 days each year in which you can tap your IRA money? No cost, no tax, no penalty, no interest. So sometimes it can buy time because you're allowed to do a rollover. Now, I'm not suggesting that people go out and do that unless they absolutely have to.
What this kind of brings up the point, which is that you need to sit down with accountants, lawyers, financial planners, and go ahead and role play through. And not that you'll have everything set up right now, but you'll know the gaps, you'll understand them, and then slowly over time, you'll have a chance to fill those gaps. Tim, I really appreciate you coming and talking to me about all of this.
It's my pleasure.
This was the harder part of the segment for me personally. Maybe not for you, maybe the other part, making physical changes was. But either way, if you can make sure that you're flexible and you do small things that will energize you, change your physical space so that you can get ready for those big transitions. Don't get too settled in your physical self or your surroundings. And also bite the bullet and go and find experts that can help you. And you'll feel a lot better about those big transitions and big decisions. I want to thank HJN Advisors and Tim, and also Victoria Homertz and Rick Mosley Hair. And if you want any more information about the things that we talked about today, just go to neadinspiration.com and it will all be there. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next week.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Nead Inspiration. We're proud to bring a new episode each and every week. Stop into Des Moines Motors and see our incredible line of noble cars, electric motor vehicles, and quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. We'll see you on the next episode of Nead Inspiration.